Hello my loves and welcome back. Today I want to talk about Vinyasa and I'm going to share with you an alternative to a traditional Vinyasa. So you might be asking yourself, Di, what the heck is a Vinyasa? So the Vinyasa traditionally in a lot of yoga practices is the bit that you come into when you come from downward facing dog, glide forward to plank, lower through to Chaturanga, up into upward facing dog, and then into downward facing dog. In many of the yoga modalities, that little sequence in a lot of sun salutations, a lot of flows, is called the Vinyasa. Typically, you'll hear somebody say, flow through your variation of the Vinyasa. So one of the problems with this is that Chaturanga Dandasana, this low push-up position, is quite a challenge for the shoulders. Now, as you can see, I don't come all the way down. I might get myself blacklisted for this, but as a yoga teacher, I very rarely do Chaturanga Dandasana. Why? My shoulders don't like it. I've got these very hypermobile shoulders that don't like this lowering motion. Most people don't like the upward facing dog position. I love this position because I like back bends. So there are so many people in classes, in yoga practice, that are dealing with shoulder problems, from frozen shoulder to rotator cuff injuries to torn labrums to all sorts of things. And the fact is that that little vinyasa, it's optional, regardless. Any pose in a practice is optional. So if you have some issue with your shoulders that prevents you from coming down into that low plank position, that low push-up position, change something. You don't have to do the vinyasa. So one thing that gets thrown around as an option is to lower the knees to the floor, so that when you come into your plank, you'll drop the knees and then lower the torso, rise into cobra, release, and push back. Now this is a great option if it doesn't hurt your shoulder. However, for many people, even the version on the knees can still cause some shoulder issues. In that case, try this. So if you know that the practice that you're doing has you in downward facing dog, and if down dog feels okay on your shoulders, rather than floating forward and doing the Chaturanga and upward facing dog, instead start in child's pose. I know quite a few of you are already enjoying this. So you start in child's pose and instead you do a little moonrise pose here and then sit back, reach the arms, take again downward facing dog. This way you still experience the back bend that you have in upward facing dog or your cobra, and you can still flow through the sequence without it being interrupted. You can still do the same thing in the same amount of time. It's just much smoother and a much easier transition. Quite honestly, I like to do this in my flows rather than Chaturanga Dandasana. It just feels nicer. It's like stealing part of the earth salutation to go into the vinyasa. So quite often, this is what I will recommend. And even if you come into this and you can't reach the arms overhead, then maybe you bring the hands to the heart and you take a little bit of extension through the spine here. Maybe you take a little baby camel. Find some other way to explore the back bend. The Chaturanga Dandasana is not essential for your yoga practice. It's just not. And for many people, it can aggravate any shoulder issues. So be mindful. So there you go, my loves. I'm giving you the full-on excuse that if you don't like Chaturanga Dandasana, you don't have to do it. You can join me in the earth salutation instead. If you enjoyed this video, then give me a thumbs up, especially if you just got permission not to do Chaturanga. And remember, my loves, that karma is only a bitch if you are. So be nice, be kind, and be the change that you want to see in the world.